babes, the wine is flowing, and babes, we are here.
We are so here.
I mean, we need the liquid courage immediately today, like right this second, because we are heading straight into a Punta Cana disaster class.
Oh, a literal masterclass in chaos.
I am talking about a dinner suspended like 140 feet in the actual air, which, by the way, feels like an absolute OSHA violation.
It definitely is. Like legally.
And while they're up there in the sky, a cast member brings the vibe down so catastrophically hard that the group actually has to institute a safe word just to survive a buffet breakfast.
A buffet. The most sacred of vacation meals.
Right. Oh, and we have to talk about the threesome rumors, because they are churning so violently that the entire foundation of this friend group is just fundamentally completely broken.
It is honestly a masterclass in psychological warfare, like completely stripped of any and all self-awareness. What we are about to unpack today is the kind of reality television that genuinely belongs in like a sociological archive.
A museum?
Truly, the sheer audacity on display is just breathtaking.
But wait, before we pack our bags and like put on our SPF 50 for the Dominican Republic, I have to tell the Snark squad what happened literally 5 minutes before we hit record.
Oh God, what did you see?
Babes, you know I am always spiraling on TikTok. Like, I cannot stop scrolling. It is an actual affliction at this point.
It's a disease. We need an intervention for you.
I know. But Allison, our amazing producer, sent me this reel about frenemies.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. The toxic, sneaky, like, backhanded relationships we all somehow just keep in our lives, masquerading as actual friendships. And I just looked across the couch at you, and I have to ask, babes, do you have any frenemies?
Look, I will proudly, loudly claim the title of a reformed, messy babe. Yeah. Reformed, past tense.
Okay, growth. We love growth.
Right. But yes, absolutely. I used to have the ultimate frenemy. And looking back, the actual mechanics of how that relationship functioned are truly, like, fascinating. It is a completely different power dynamic than a normal friendship.
Oh my God, wait, I need the origin story immediately. Please tell me everything. Do not leave out a single detail. I want the timestamps.
Okay, so it started out like a completely normal, actually really intense friendship. Like, we were in our early 20s working the exact same highly toxic corporate job.
Ugh, the trenches.
Exactly. We were trauma bonding over our terrible boss. We were the girls getting iced coffees at 3 p.m., plotting our escapes, complaining about the fluorescent lighting in the break room.
The classic corporate trauma bond. I know it well.
Right. But then the energy just shifted, and it was so insidious. Like, it wasn't a blowout fight. It wasn't a screaming match in the hallway. It was the microaggressions.
The subtle shade. It's always the subtle shade.
Always.
It makes you feel like you are literally losing your actual mind because you can't explicitly call it out. Like, you sound crazy if you complain about it.
Exactly. It weaponizes plausible deniability.
Yeah.
It was textbook passive-aggressive energy. Like, I'd wear a new outfit to the office, something I felt really, really confident in, and she'd look me up and down, pause just a second too long, and say, wow, you are so brave for wearing that color. It really washes you out, but I love how you just don't care what people think.
No. Babes, that is psycho behavior.
I know.
I am physically ill just hearing that. I would have thrown my iced coffee directly onto her keyboard. I am entirely serious.
A reasonable response, honestly.
If a friend tells me I look washed out, just says it with a smile, that is an act of war. We are at war.
Right. But in the moment, your brain just sort of short circuits. You second guess yourself. You think, oh, maybe she's just looking out for me. Maybe she's just a blunt person.
The I'm just brutally honest defense. Gross.
Exactly. Snark Squad, if you have a friend who compliments your outfit by saying it looks, quote, so comfortable, you know exactly what I'm talking about.
Oh, comfortable is a slur.
It really is. But then came the true aha moment. Like, the mask finally slipped all the way off.
Oh, tell me.
I got a promotion, one that we both had loosely talked about going for. And when I told her the news, her face actually fell. Like, her micro-expressions betrayed her for a solid 2 seconds.
I am leaning in so close right now.
She forced this tight, terrifying, robotic smile, and she goes, oh, wow, well, they definitely needed someone to handle the grunt work. Congrats.
Yes. Shut up.
I swear on my life.
I'm screaming someone to handle the grunt work.
Yep. That was the exact moment the spell broke for me. I looked at her and realized, oh, you actively want me to fail. You view my success as a literal threat to your existence. You are not my friend. You are a frenemy.
That is the most toxic, soul-sucking dynamic I have ever heard of. But it makes me wonder, babes, can frenemies ever actually be real friends? Like, deep down.
I don't.
Because I feel like once that jealousy enters the chat, the foundation is completely rotted. You cannot build a solid house on a rotted foundation. The termites of resentment have already eaten the wood.
That's a great metaphor. And no, I don't think they can ever transition back to being real supportive friends. But, and hear me out on this, I think people secretly love having that toxic dynamic in their lives.
Wait, what? No, I reject that entirely.
Just think about it.
Who wants that kind of negativity breathing down their neck?
Think about the sociology of it for a second. Having a frenemy gives you a focal point for your own insecurities. But more importantly, it gives you an incredible, endless source of entertainment.
Entertainers.
Yes, it's like keeping a little reality TV show running in your own personal life. Like when she would say something shady to me, part of me was annoyed, obviously. But another part of me was immediately running to my other friends to dissect it.
Oh my God, the debrief.
The debrief. We would spend hours analyzing her text. Like a little toxicity is entertaining. It keeps the group chat alive. It gives you a common enemy to bond over with your actual real friends.
Okay, I hate that you are right, but you are so right.
I usually am.
Shut up. But it's true. It's the thrill of the mess. It is the exact same reason we're sitting here with microphones right now.
Exactly.
But honestly, I am way too emotionally fragile for that in my real life. I need my real-world friends to be my actual loving friends. And my enemies need to be strangers on reality television who I can safely judge from the absolute comfort of my own couch.
A very healthy boundary to have.
Thank you. And speaking of the couch, babes, the snacks are back on deck.
Thank the Lord. Because the emotional toll this episode is going to take, it requires heavy sustenance.
Snark Squad, we might want to be summer baddies, but babes, we are hungry.
So hungry.
And I refuse to apologize for this massive, chaotic charcuterie spread that is currently taking up like our entire coffee table.
Summer body, but make it emotionally supported. That is my official 2026 motto. Put it on a bumper sticker right now.
Truly. Like, look at this. We have the spicy cheddar popcorn, we have the Gouda, we have the prosciutto. We have an absolutely irresponsible amount of gummy bears.
The ratio of cheese to gummy bears is wild, but I respect it.
Because snacking is fundamentally essential to surviving the mess we are about to unpack. You literally cannot consume this level of delusion on an empty stomach.
You can't.
You need a cheese pull to physically anchor your spirit back to reality.
You really do. And you know, the absolute delusion of balance in the wellness space is what kills me. People on social media are like, oh, I'm having a kale smoothie with flaxseed while I watch people destroy their lives and reputations on Bravo.
No.
No. That is cognitively dissonant. You need simple carbohydrates to process the secondary trauma.
Yes.
You need sodium to repress the tears you shed laughing at these people's unforced errors. It's just science.
Exactly. We are matching the energy of the content, and we really need the caloric fuel right now because, Snark Squad, we have been getting so many listener submissions for our confession segment.
The inbox is overflowing.
And we are absolutely living for the chaos. Babes, keep them coming. The things you guys are doing out in the wild, I am simultaneously terrified of you and utterly obsessed with you.
It's a dark place out there.
It is. So let's get into our first segment. Shady, snarky, or stupid?
Lay the first one on me. I am ready with my gavel.
Okay. Confession number 1. Are you ready for this?
I'm bracing myself.
Quote, I went through my situationship's phone while he was in the shower, found out he had another girl saved as Uber Eats, and instead of confronting him, I ordered $120 worth of food on his account and blocked him.
Oh my God, the logistics of that.
Babes, I am literally standing up. I am giving this confessor a standing ovation right now.
Please sit down. You're knocking the microphone.
I completely and utterly support this emotional, reactive, financial devastation. This is high art. This is modern feminism.
Feminism, that's a stretch.
It is. You treat me like a late-night option, I treat myself to a feast on your dime, period. The absolute nerve of a man to save a woman is a food delivery app.
Okay, let's look at the actual mechanics of what this man did. Because saving a side piece as Uber Eats is diabolical.
It's evil.
It is a level of deception that requires actual logistical planning.
Yeah.
And like UI interface awareness. He specifically chose an app that frequently sends push notifications, so that if her name popped up on his lock screen, it would just look like a delivery update. Uber Eats is on the way.
Oh my God, my brain didn't even go there. That is terrifying.
That is premeditated emotional fraud. But responding by ordering $120 worth of food? I mean, legally speaking, she committed wire fraud.
Oh, whatever.
It is a minor crime.
I do not care about the law in this instance. I care about the justice.
I mean, culturally speaking, undeniably iconic. The punishment perfectly fits the crime.
Iconic. Imagine the scene. He turns the water off. He gets out of the shower, wraps a towel around his waist, looks at his phone. He realizes his lock screen has been breached.
His heart drops.
Yes. He goes to text her, realizes he's blocked. His entire secret double life is exposed. And simultaneously, there is a knock at the door. And a delivery driver is standing there, handing him 3 large pizzas, a side of garlic wings, and a 2-liter of Diet Coke that he just paid for.
The sodium levels alone.
The poetry of it, it is a cinematic masterpiece.
So we have to rank it. Is it shady, snarky, or stupid?
It's the ultimate snark. Like, it's elevated shade. It transcends the categories.
I agree. It leans heavily into snark with a massive dash of shady. The only stupid person in this scenario is the man who thought he was a criminal mastermind, but failed to utilize a secure passcode before stepping into a highly vulnerable environment like a shower.
Seriously.
Rookie mistake if you're living a double life. Lock your phone, people. Okay, let's hear the second one.
Okay, confession number 2. I told my coworker I couldn't cover her shift because I had a family emergency. Then posted brunch on my story and forgot she follows me.
Oh, the heavy, exasperated sigh that just left my body could power a wind turbine.
I am hiding under a blanket. The secondhand embarrassment I feel right now is actually making my chest physically tight.
It hurts.
How do you lack that much social media awareness? A family emergency.
The worst excuse.
You went with the absolute nuclear option of workplace lies, and then you posted bottomless mimosas to the public grid.
It's the hubris. It's the absolute unmitigated hubris of the digital age. This is exactly what happens when a generation forgets to respect the sacred art of the workplace lie.
You have to respect it.
If you are going to fake a family emergency to avoid a shift, you must adopt the lifestyle of someone in mourning.
Yes.
You go dark. You do not exist on the internet for at least 24 to 48 hours. You certainly do not post a boomerang of clinking champagne flutes.
You have to commit to the bit. You can't be out here living your best life with an avocado toast aesthetic when your coworker thinks you are hovering over a hospital bed.
It's insulting.
It is so disrespectful to the lie itself. Like, the lack of effort is what offends me most.
Right. And if we break down the operational failure here, it's just a massive rookie mistake. This is exactly what the close friends list was invented for.
The green circle.
Yes. Mark Zuckerberg and Instagram literally gave you a targeted tool to contain your mess, to silo your deception. And you failed to utilize it. You basically handed your coworker the unredacted evidence to destroy your professional reputation on a silver platter.
Why do people self-sabotage by oversharing on the main grid?
Because they need the validation of the brunch aesthetic more than they need their biweekly paycheck. That's why. So what is the verdict?
Oh, stupid. 100% stupid. Unforced error of the highest magnitude.
Completely stupid. There is no snark here, just a fundamental misunderstanding of surveillance capitalism.
Honestly, I cannot even defend her. Like, I hope she got fired so she could reflect on her social media strategy.
A harsh lesson, but a necessary one.
Okay, last one. Confession number 3. My best friend's ex slid into my DMs and I didn't respond. But I also didn't tell her because I didn't want drama. She found out and now thinks I entertained it.
Oh, wow. This is a thorny one. This involves the geopolitics of female friendships.
It's not thorny at all. Babes, I am furious at this confessor.
Wait, really?
Yes. Loyalty means instant unredacted screenshots. If my best friend's ex even breathes in the general direction of my social media, I am screenshotting it, circling the timestamp in red, and sending it to her with 10 siren emojis.
But why?
Because you do not hide that. Hiding it means you are complicit.
See, I completely and utterly disagree with you.
How can you possibly disagree? It is the literal girl code.
Because you are acting purely on emotion right now. And sometimes acting purely on emotion creates massive, totally unnecessary collateral damage.
No, it doesn't. It protects the friendship.
Listen to the mechanics of what is actually happening here. This ex is clearly a narcissist, right? He is looking for a supply of attention. He slid into the best friend's DMs specifically to cause chaos and to triangulate them.
Well, yeah.
Right. So by ignoring him, the confessor gave him nothing. She starved with the fire of oxygen. If she had immediately run to her best friend with screenshots, what would have happened?
A friend would know the truth.
It would have ruined the friend's day. It would have brought up old relationship trauma, triggered a massive emotional spiral, and given the ex exactly what he wanted: relevance. Sometimes burying the body in the backyard and never ever speaking of it is the smartest way to protect the village.
But wait. She got caught. She got caught burying the body.
Well, yes, her operational security was bad.
And now the best friend thinks she's a snake. Because if you were my best friend, I want to know. I want to know who is plotting against me in the shadows. If you hide it from me, you look like you were weighing the pros and cons of replying. You look like you were keeping your options open.
No, she only looks like she was considering it because the best friend is projecting her own insecurities onto the silence. Let's look at the data here. A non-response is a complete rejection. It is a digital brick wall.
But she didn't tell her.
She didn't entertain it. She didn't send a coy emoji. She ignored it. The mistake wasn't ignoring the message. The mistake was leaving a digital paper trail where the friend could somehow find out later. She should have deleted the request entirely so the evidence vanished.
I am so heated right now. I need to take a massive sip of wine.
Take a sip. Breathe.
We are never going to agree on this.
Yeah.
I am a screenshot and destroy kind of girl. Like, I believe in radical transparency, even if it causes a temporary panic attack.
And you are a calculating, avoid the drama, manage the information kind of person.
Yes.
And that is exactly why we sit on this couch together. We balance the scales of justice perfectly. You bring the fire, I bring the fire extinguisher.
Okay. Okay, letting my heart rate come down. Breathing in, breathing out.
Have a gummy bear.
Thank you.
Yeah.
But honestly, speaking of messy friends who fundamentally do not know how to communicate.
Oh, here we go.
Friends who operate in the shadows and who constantly leave a trail of digital and emotional destruction in their wake.
Let's pack our bags, put on our SPF 50, and head straight to the Dominican Republic. It is time for our main recap of Southern Hospitality, Season 4, Episode 10.
Buckle up, Snark Squad. Make sure your tray tables are stowed and locked because the atmospheric pressure of this trip is about to give us all the psychological bends. We all know the lore of this cast. We know the history. So let's just skip the Wikipedia recaps and get straight into the audacity.
Let's do it.
Let's start with part 1, because before they even step foot on the tarmac, we have to talk about the pre-trip exclusion and Grace Lilly's absolute spiral in Charleston. She is feeling completely, utterly iced out of this group.
Completely ostracized.
She wasn't at Joe's birthday, she wasn't at Maddie's birthday, and she wasn't invited to Punta Cana.
All supposedly over a joke that was taken out of context. The infamous joke that she wouldn't even repeat on camera because it was allegedly so offensive to Joe and Maddie's sensibilities.
Which, you know, it probably wasn't even that bad. But I feel so emotionally terrible for Grace Lilly in this episode. I really do. Watching her sit on her porch, talking about being sober from ketamine for a month.
Which is huge.
Which, honestly, huge applause for her. That is a massive step. She is journaling, she is meditating, she is actively trying to heal her brain chemistry and stay on a healthy routine. And she is reaching out to these people, sending vulnerable texts and getting completely callously ghosted.
It's rough to watch.
It breaks my heart. When you are trying to better yourself and get sober, the isolation of your friend group abandoning you is so incredibly triggering. Like, it could push someone right back into their old habits.
It is deeply sad to watch someone try to self-actualize and just be met with a brick wall. I'll give you that. But let's look at the underlying mechanics of this specific friend group.
Okay.
This isn't a group built on deep, unconditional love or shared moral values.
Not at all.
It's an ecosystem built entirely on convenience, proximity to alcohol, and shared trauma from working in the hospitality industry. But what truly fascinates me here, what absolutely blows my mind, is the absolute unmitigated hypocrisy of Lake in this entire situation.
Yes. Let's get into the lake of it all.
Yeah.
Because my jaw was on the floor.
Right, because Lake is furiously icing out Grace Lilly. She has planted her flag on this supposed moral high ground because Grace dated Justin, and Justin had casually hooked up with Jordan a few times in the past.
Not even a committed relationship, just a casual, messy hookup.
Exactly. Lake is acting like Grace committed a war crime against the sisterhood. She is prosecuting Grace Lilly to the fullest extent of girl code law. Meanwhile, what is Lake actively doing?
Tell them. Scream it.
She is plotting to go home with Oysen, a man who literally, currently, actively has a girlfriend.
Make it make sense. The math is not mathing. The calculator's broken.
The math is in the negative integers. It is a complete failure of logical consistency. Look, Lake needs a scapegoat. She is prosecuting Grace Lilly for dating a single man who used to hook up with their friend while she herself is completely willing to cross international boundary lines to sleep with a taken man.
It's insane. And Grace Lilly explicitly asked the camera in her confessional, "Am I in the Twilight Zone?" And honestly, yes, Grace, you are.
You absolutely are.
The hypocrisy is so thick you could cut it with a machete. Lake is using fake moral outrage at Grace to distract the group from her own incredibly shady behavior.
It's classic deflection.
It's infuriating.
Yeah.
It is so deeply unfair. But okay, so Grace is left behind in Charleston with her journals and her piece. And the rest of the chaotic crew arrives in Punta Cana. Enter part 2. The arrival and the safe word.
Oh, the vibes.
Babes, the vibes are immediately in the subterranean gutter.
They haven't even unpacked their suitcases. The sunscreen hasn't even breached their pores, and Michols is already exhausted. I mean, deeply, spiritually, cellularly exhausted by Emmy.
He sits down in the room and flat out says they made absolutely no progress in their conversation on the flight. He looks into the camera and calls her a bitter hag who is incredibly selfish.
A strong choice of words.
And you know what? I felt the exasperation through the television screen because Emmy lives in this terrifying alternate reality where if she speaks in a calm, PR-trained, monotone voice, she automatically assumes it means she's in the right.
Emmy operates like a customer service chatbot.
Yeah.
She thinks that stringing together therapy buzzwords like boundaries and holding space in a completely flat tone is substitute for taking actual accountability.
It's maddening.
It's not. It just infuriates the person trying to talk to her because they realize they are speaking to an algorithm, not a human being. So, Michols, desperate to prevent his first trip to the Dominican Republic in 16 years from completely derailing before lunch, channels his inner exasperated camp counselor.
Oh my God, the morning scene.
He wakes everyone up, literally screaming at them to open their mouths so he can fart in them, which is a bizarre, chaotic choice, and drags them to the breakfast buffet to lay down the law.
And this is where cinematic reality TV history is made.
Yeah.
He realizes he cannot control Emmy's narcissism, but he can control the group's reaction to it. So he institutes the drama safe word.
A brilliant tactic.
If anyone starts making the trip entirely about themselves and their grievances, the rest of the group has to yell the safe word to shut it down. And the word he chooses, plantain.
A brilliant, geographically and culturally appropriate choice for the Caribbean.
But the comedy. The sheer, unadulterated, spit-my-wine-out comedy of Emmy literally not knowing what a plantain is.
Unbelievable.
I was dying. I had to pause the TV and walk around my living room. She sits there blinking those huge eyes, looking completely blank, and goes, wait, is it like a bamboo? Is it like a mushroom?
It perfectly, flawlessly encapsulates the Emmy experience. She is living in a hermetically sealed, incredibly privileged bubble. How do you travel to the Dominican Republic, sit at a breakfast buffet that undoubtedly has plantains literally sitting on it, and think a plantain is a bamboo shoot or a fungus?
I don't know.
What does that say about her grocery shopping habits? What does that say about her intellectual curiosity?
It said she has never looked outside of her own reflection. She doesn't perceive the outside world.
Exactly. It's not just a lack of culinary knowledge, it's a profound, systemic lack of curiosity about the world outside of her immediate line of sight. Weaponized incompetence. If she doesn't know what a common fruit is, how on earth is she going to understand the complex emotional needs of her friends?
She isn't. She just isn't. It is the most Emmy moment that has ever aired on Bravo. And you just know she was looking at that breakfast buffet, utterly confused and slightly terrified.
Probably looking for a plain bagel.
But she didn't have much time to be confused, because the universe immediately rolls us into part 3. The rumor mill, and, as Oysen so aggressively and poetically put it, a deep dive into the lake.
A phrase that will absolutely haunt my nightmares for the rest of my natural life. It is repulsive.
So gross. But okay, so Molly, who is actually clocking in and trying to earn her Bravo paycheck this season.
Keep putting in the hours.
She pulls Lake aside to clear the air. She wants to know why Lake hates her and is avoiding her. Lake gets instantly defensive and accuses Molly of having bad energy, icing her out. And here is the absolute kicker, spreading a vicious rumor that Lake had a threesome with Oysen and a girl named Nessa after emo night.
Which, by the way, the Reddit preds had an absolute field day with the fact that Lake kept referring to it as the night of emo night.
Yes, the redundancy.
Just say emo night, Lake. We don't need the extra prepositional phrases. You sound like you are giving a deposition under oath.
Exactly. When you over-explain the grammar, you are lying. It's known tell. But here is where the truth comes out, and it is messy. Molly does not back down. She doesn't cower. She reveals she didn't start the rumor at all. She heard it directly from Michols.
Michols, the peacekeeper.
Michols News, the man who literally just instituted a safe word to stop drama, is the central node spreading the threesome rumor.
Incredible.
Lake vehemently denies the threesome part. She admits, yes, okay, she went home with Nessa. But then, in a completely separate conversation, Oysen proudly and loudly confesses he hooked up with her. The man literally says on camera to the boys that he took a deep dive into the lake.
Again, I need to take a shower in boiling water just repeating that phrase.
It's foul.
But if we analyze the fan reaction, Reddit absolutely nailed the mechanics of what is happening here. The top comment, the absolute consensus across the board is, Lake's mama is tired.
So tired. Exhausted.
She has to sit at home in Charleston and watch her daughter take L after L, episode after episode. Like, Lake is constantly trying to produce her own narrative. She's trying to be the victim, or she's trying to be the elusive cool girl, and she gets outplayed by reality every single time.
Every time.
It is a spectacular failure of rumor laundering and damage control. She denies hooking up, Brad corners her with facts, Joe confirms it, and Oysen broadcasts it to the entire eastern seaboard.
Her mother's definitely screening her calls at this point. It's too much mess for one family to bear. But babes, all of this ground-level breakfast buffet drama is absolutely nothing compared to what happens next. Part 4. Dinner in the Sky.
Oh, God.
I need hazardous duty pay just for watching this sequence on my TV.
This was psychological torture engineered by Bravo Production. It was a pressure cooker designed to break the human spirit.
They literally strapped these hungover, furious, emotionally volatile reality stars into bucket seats, hoisted them 140 feet into the air on a massive industrial crane, and left them dangling there to eat dinner with nowhere to run.
Diabolical.
No escape. Maddie is fully freaking out. Everyone is terrified of the height. The wind is just whipping around them, blowing their hair into their microphones. Is my literal nightmare.
Let's analyze the physics and psychology of being trapped like that. You are 140 feet up. Your fight-or-flight nervous system response is completely activated by gravity and primal fear.
Right.
But Bravo has strapped you into a 5-point harness. You literally cannot flee. You cannot storm off. You cannot dramatically hail a cab or lock yourself in a bathroom. So what happens? You have to fight. It forces confrontation because your nervous system is hijacked and the tension has nowhere else to go.
And Molly does not waste the opportunity of a captive audience. She looks at Emmy straight up over the wind and says, "Our vibe is weird."
Straight to the point.
And TJ, God bless TJ, the ultimate vault, the truth teller of the season, goes straight for the jugular. He looks at Emmy and calls her fake AF. And then he finally drops the actual bomb that has been hovering over the entire season.
The real issue.
The root of all this weirdness is that Emmy's fiancé, Will, used to heavily flirt with Molly behind the bar. And Emmy has held a secret, bubbling, deeply insecure grudge about it ever since.
The look on Emmy's face when he said that out loud, the mask didn't just slip, it was blown off her face by the hurricane force winds up there.
Her eyes. The crazy, terrified eyes. She started physically hyperventilating. I thought she was going to unclip her harness and freefall into the ocean rather than face the truth.
She considered it.
The dark, toxic energy she was projecting was so intense, I felt like the atmospheric oxygen level in my own living room plummeted. I was gasping for air on my couch.
But watch what she does next. Watch the mechanism. What does she do? She defaults right back to her robotic, PR-trained sorority rush response.
Yes.
She realizes she's cornered in the sky. She can't escape the truth about Will, so she stiffens her spine, completely flattens her affect, and says she just wants to develop a respectable acquaintance with Molly.
What does that even mean?
And later in her confessional, she actually has the sheer audacity to say, "I could not have handled that more respectfully."
I screamed. I threw my popcorn. Respectable acquaintance. Who on earth talks like that? You are 140 feet in the air fighting about your fiancé flirting with a bartender. You are not negotiating a peace treaty at the United Nations. You are on a reality show. Be real.
It's a brilliant, albeit infuriating, defense mechanism. By using overly formal, detached HR department language, she tries to elevate herself above the trashy reality TV fight. She's trying to say, I am classier than this situation.
But she's not.
Exactly. It completely backfires because it just makes her look deeply, chillingly inauthentic. It proves TJ's exact point that she is fake. And Reddit was quick to point out that Molly deserves actual hazardous duty pay and a workers' comp claim for being seated next to Emmy's suffocating energy while suspended in the air. That is an OSHA violation.
Completely unsafe working conditions. I am filing a grievance with the labor board on Molly's behalf. But eventually, thank God, they lower the crane. Their feet touch the solid ground, and they immediately run to the club to self-medicate with alcohol. Which brings us to part 5, club hookups and fake breakups.
Let's talk about the kiss, because I know you have feelings about this.
TJ and Michols, kissing at the club. Babes, I'm such a hopeless romantic, I was swooning.
I knew it.
The neon lighting, the heavy club music, the built-up tension. I want them to fall in love. I want a wedding special. I want them to ride off into the sunset together.
Babes, no, listen to me. You need to take your reality TV shipper goggles off for 1 second.
Do not ruin this for me with your logic. I need
I have to ruin it because your romanticism is blinding you to the absolute reality of the situation. I agree entirely with TJ's hesitation here. Let's look at the mechanics of their lives. A relationship between them right now is a terrible, catastrophic idea. Michols just came out. He's incredibly young. He is firmly in his exploration era. He needs to go out, make mistakes, kiss strangers, figure out who he is, and live his truth without being instantly tied down to a serious commitment.
But wait, I have to push back on this. Why does Michael's youth mean he can't have stability? Sometimes, when someone is coming out and their whole world is shifting and chaotic, being with an older, grounded, mature partner is exactly what they need.
That's a nice thought, but
TJ could be his rock. They have such good chemistry.
chemistry does not equal compatibility in lifestyle. That is a fundamental truth of dating. TJ is older. TJ is established in his life and his career. TJ wants something serious, stable, and long-term. If they try to force a relationship now, the age gap and the massive difference in their life stages will turn that beautiful, supportive friendship into a toxic, resentful nightmare.
You think?
I know. Michols will feel smothered, and TJ will feel neglected. TJ is being incredibly mature by hitting the brakes. He wants to protect the friendship because he knows, deep down, Michols isn't ready to give him what he needs. It is an act of love to say no.
Ugh. Okay, fine. You were right. I hate it when you use logic on me and destroy my dreams of a Bravo wedding spinoff. But fine, TJ is the mature king of the group, protecting his own peace and Michols' future. Meanwhile, Brad is out here at the club, actively testing my patience.
Oh, Brad.
He decides it would be hilarious to joke that he and Julia broke up, sending literal shockwaves of panic through the group, only for Julia to surprise them by showing up in the DR.
Brad trying to make dad talk happen with these terrible, poorly timed practical jokes is excruciating to watch. It's not funny, it just spikes everyone's cortisol for absolutely no reason.
But the payoff was worth it just to get Julia on my screen. I love her energy. Reddit brought up the absolute best point. Someone commented that they realized they absolutely love Julia purely because she is the one who famously looked at Emmy and called her a white privilege-ass bitch.
It's entirely true. Once you correctly identify and articulate the core issue with the show's main antagonist, you secure lifetime fan favorite status. Julia earned her stripes with that exact read. She spoke for the audience.
She truly did. But from the sweaty chaos of the club, we sober up the next morning and move into part 6, which was actually incredibly heavy and emotional. Maddie's health and Joe's army of swimmers.
A complete tonal whiplash of a scene. We went from neon club lights to heavy medical trauma in 30 seconds.
It really was jarring. They are at this beautiful, serene couple's massage on the beach, and Maddie gets incredibly vulnerable. She completely drops her guard. She opens up about her health issues, and babes, it is a lot to carry.
It is.
She lists celiac disease, which she has suffered from since the 5th grade, IBS, GERD, and her struggles with alcoholism. And she connects all of this compounding physical trauma to her profound fear of infertility, especially with her family history. She admits she is terrified and wants to freeze her eggs.
It was very raw.
I just have to pause and say, I am so incredibly proud of Maddie for representing chronic autoimmune diseases on reality TV. It is such an isolating experience, and seeing her talk about how terrifying it is to plan a future when your own body feels completely unpredictable was incredibly brave.
It was a very real, very grounded, unproduced moment, and it highlights how difficult and all-consuming chronic illness is. It shapes every decision you make about your future. But then, Joe responds.
Oh, Joe. I need to squeeze a stress ball.
It's time for full snark, backed entirely by the Reddit community, because Joe's reaction is deeply psychologically concerning.
It's awful.
On the surface, to an untrained ear, he says all the supportive things. He says he'll be there for her. He confidently claims to have an army of swimmers, which is a visually gross phrase to use during a serious medical conversation. And he immediately jumps to fantasizing out loud about wearing a baby Bjorn and being a fun soccer dad on the sidelines.
It felt so incredibly performative, like he was reading lines from a bad rom-com script.
It wasn't just performative, it was an active avoidance strategy. I call this the arrested development maneuver.
Oh, unpack that.
Think about the broader context of the season. Brad and TJ had just been pressuring Joe relentlessly to figure out his career, to find a passion, to be something more than just Maddie's unemployed hype man. Joe doesn't want to do that hard work. Finding a career is terrifying and difficult. So what does he do? he rushes into the fantasy of a family.
Whoa.
If he becomes a husband and a dad immediately, he doesn't have to figure out his professional life. Society gives men a pass on professional mediocrity if they pivot hard to the devoted family man aesthetic. He can just make fun dad his entire personality to shield himself from criticism.
Yes. Oh my God, yes. The
Yep.
Reddit comments were absolutely dragging him for this exact thing. He is actively using the idea of a hypothetical baby as a human shield against adulthood.
Yeah.
And worse, he completely dismisses her very real, terrifying medical fears by just aggressively being like, don't stress, babe, my swimmers are great. Like, Joe, your viable sperm does not cure her celiac disease. It does not fix her GER. It does not magically erase the physical toll pregnancy would take on her autoimmune system.
He's missing the point entirely.
I am honestly shocked Maddie hasn't caught the massive ick yet.
The ick is highly contagious, and I caught it through the television screen. He is romanticizing her physical trauma to avoid facing his own lack of direction. It's a classic, transparent deflection maneuver.
So true. And so bleak. And finally, we end the episode with part 7, the church excommunication.
A rare moment of genuine peace, instantly and ruthlessly weaponized by Emmy.
Michols takes Joe, Maddie, Lake, and TJ to this stunning, historic Roman Catholic church that his grandmother visits. It's this profound, beautiful moment of acceptance for him as a gay man returning to a religious space that he historically felt alienated and rejected from. His friends surround him in the pews, they tell him they love him, they support his truth. It's gorgeous, it made me tear up.
And who is explicitly, intentionally not invited to this sacred space.
Emmy.
And how does she react when she finds out? Does she take a moment to reflect on why her energy might not be welcome in a sacred space of healing and vulnerability? Does she wonder if maybe her behavior has alienated her peers?
No, absolutely not. She immediately makes it entirely about herself. She claims it was a calculated, vicious move by Michols, specifically designed to hurt her feelings.
It is breathtaking. Clinical narcissism.
Yeah.
Michols literally said to her face the day before, "The biggest issue is that you are entirely selfish." And Emmy's immediate response to a gay man seeking spiritual solace and acceptance with his closest friends is, "How dare he use God and a cathedral to make me feel left out of an excursion?"
It's wild.
She perfectly, flawlessly proved his entire thesis. She cannot conceive of a world or a single action that does not revolve entirely around her orbit.
It's infuriating, it is exhausting, but my God, it is incredible television. Okay, I need to let this wine settle in my system because my blood pressure is spiking and I am worked up.
Let's do the segments.
Yes, let's transition into the official Snark side ranking segments because I have deeply held opinions and I need to yell them into this microphone.
The floor is completely yours. Segment 1, Frenemy Energy Ranking. The mission here is to rank the cast members from absolute ride-or-die loyal bestie to absolute venomous snake.
Okay, I am starting at the top of the pyramid with the loyal besties. I am putting Molly and Maddie up there.
Okay, explain.
Hear me out. Molly might be messy, she might stir the pot, but she is straight up. If she has a problem with you, she tells you to your face while suspended 140 feet from an industrial crane. That is a terrifying commitment to the truth.
Fair point.
And Maddie is just out here trying to survive her autoimmune diseases and her man-child boyfriend. She is fiercely loyal to her circle when they are under attack.
I can accept Molly as chaotic good. Her mechanics are transparent. But let's look at the dark, murky bottom of the pyramid, the snakes.
Let's go there.
If we break this down, Emmy takes the crown for the most insidious frenemy energy. Why? Because a true snake hides in the tall grass. She pretends to be the calm, rational, supportive friend, but she is entirely self-centered and operates purely on a transactional basis. If you do not serve her specific PR narrative, you are discarded and labeled as toxic.
Spot on. The tall grass is where she lives. And Lake is right down there slithering next to her. The absolute hypocrisy, going after Grace Lowley's sobriety and dating history while actively plotting to sleep with a taken man.
A total mess.
Lake is the snake that bites its own tail because she's too confused by the web of her own lies.
Agreed. Emmy is the calculated corporate snake. Lake is the disorganized, chaotic snake. Moving on to segment 2. Who would we trust with our secrets? The mission is to debate who could actually take a secret to the literal grave versus who would leak it instantly for 10 seconds of screen time.
This is the easiest question of the entire night. The vault is TJ, period. End of discussion.
Without a doubt.
Look at how he handled the Michols club kiss situation. He was respectful, he communicated his boundaries clearly, he didn't exploit the kiss for cheap drama the next morning, he just handled it with pure, grounded maturity. If I accidentally bury a body, I am handing TJ the map and he is swallowing it whole.
TJ is Fort Knox. His structural integrity is sound. But on the complete opposite, terrifying end of the spectrum, the leak, it has to be Michols.
Oh, 1,000%.
Telling a secret to Michols is basically issuing a formal press release to the tri-state area. It's a broadcast network. He literally spread the Oisin and Lake threesome rumor to everyone at the resort while simultaneously complaining about how much drama there was in the group.
Hypocrisy.
He is the town crier. If you tell him something in strict confidence, it will be the scrolling ticker on the morning news by 7 a.m.
He will institute a safe word and then scream your deepest, darkest secret into a megaphone. You cannot trust that man with sensitive information. He thrives on the currency of gossip. Okay, segment 3, Mess Magnet of the Week. Who attracts the most chaos, and why do they attract it?
Who is your pick?
I am nominating Lake. The sheer volume of L's this girl took in one single vacation is staggering to comprehend. The threesome rumor blowing up in her face, the hypocrisy over Justin being exposed, getting cornered by Brad and Joe with the truth, her own mother being exhausted by her antics.
True.
She walks into a room and the mess just magnetically attaches to her hair extensions. She didn't even have to try. The chaos finds her.
Lake is a mess magnet, yes. Her energy is frantic, but I am nominating Emmy. Let me explain the physics of it.
Okay, Mr. Scientist.
Because Lake's mess is localized to whoever she's talking to. Emmy's mess is atmospheric. It changes the climate. She literally brings down the oxygen level of an entire tropical island. People have to invent safe words just to eat a buffet breakfast in her suffocating presence.
That's actually so true.
That requires a gravitational pull of negative chaos that is scientifically unexplainable. She is the emotional black hole of the Dominican Republic.
A black hole of bad vibes. I love it. I accept your thesis. Okay, final segment. Segment 4. Group chat from hell. Imagine this entire cast locked into one massive iMessage group chat. Who starts the drama first? Picture the actual, literal mechanics of how it goes down.
Oh, I see it clearly. I can visualize the timestamps. It starts at exactly 9:02 a.m. on a random Tuesday. Emmy sends a 10-paragraph, perfectly punctuated, grammatically flawless thesis statement about how she felt unseen, unheard, and disrespected during a brief 3-second interaction at the bar the night before.
Yes.
She heavily relies on words like boundaries, toxic holding space, and respectable acquaintance.
Yes, the blue bubbles just keep coming, and then Brad immediately replies with a terrible dad joke or a minion meme that completely entirely misses the point, which absolutely derails her carefully crafted thesis and makes her even more furious.
Exactly. And while Emmy is furiously typing another novel in response to Brad's meme, Molly is leaving Emmy on read in the main chat, but simultaneously screenshotting the entire unhinged monologue and sending it to a separate private side group chat with TJ saying, "Look at this psycho spiral."
And Michols is just replying in the main chat with the plantain emoji. Over and over again. Just a wall of plantains. Just pure, unadulterated chaos.
It would be a disaster.
I would pay a premium monthly subscription fee to read that group chat. It would be my morning newspaper. It would give me life.
It would spike your heart rate better than 3 shots of espresso.
Babes, we have unpacked it all. The crane, the rumors, the immune systems, the plantains, the corporate frenemies. My brain is buzzing. But before we sign off, we need to leave the Snark squad with something heavy to chew on.
I have a final provocative thought for everyone. We sit here and watch these people fight, cry, scream at each other, and institute safe words week after week. But the real underlying question is, can reality TV friendships ever actually survive off camera? Or are they all just entirely trauma bonded by grueling production schedules, forced proximity, and the mutual desperate desire for a second season contract? Once the cameras go down, the lighting crew packs up and the mics are taken off. Who is actually texting who? Is any of it real, or is it just a cast list of coworkers?
Oh my God. That is deep. Are they friends, or are they just co-workers in the lucrative business of mutual emotional destruction? Snark Squad, I need your theories in the comments immediately, because my brain is spinning and I don't know what is real anymore. Thank you so much to all you babes for hanging out, pouring the wine, eating this chaotic charcuterie with us, and judging these people from the safety of the couch.
We absolutely love unpacking this mess with you. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and please share this with a messy friend who desperately needs to hear it.
Stay shady. Stay messy.
Yeah.
And we will see you on the Snark side.
Stay shady, stay messy, and we will see you on the Snark side.